Looking at my time, and it's 10 o'clock Sunday. So that means it's time for Mike Spider Slayer's Top 10 Most Anticipated Comics. Hey comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0, and fans, you're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to do the second episode of Mike Spider Slayer's Top 10 Most Anticipated Comics of the Week, and this is for the week of 11/7/18. That's right, fans. I want to appreciate all of you that tuned in and watched the premiere of the very first episode, and then the people that watched afterwards. I really appreciate it. It was a pretty good response. You guys seem to like the series, so I'm going to bring it to you each and every week. Again, it premieres every Sunday, 10 p.m. Standard Time, as I talk about my top 10 comics. So hopefully you guys enjoy this series, and if you want to follow along, this is unofficial sponsor, okay? This is just a site that I use. It's leagueofcomicgeeks.com. They actually rank their comics based off of comics pulled on their site of which comics are the most popular. But that might not be your most popular, but you can create a list of yourself of your top 10 most anticipated books, and you can put it in the descriptions box below. It's a great site. Again, leagueofcomicgeeks.com has all kinds of great stuff on there. Create your pull list, profile, follow other people, write reviews, great stuff. So I'll leave it again in the descriptions box below. So here we go. We're going to talk about the top 10. But first, before we get into that, I'm going to talk about my on the fence book. Am I going to buy it? You know, right now it's on the pull list, but it's been kind of just on the fence for me this past week because I can't really get into the story. And I don't know if it has to do with event fatigue. I'm maybe just not into the story, and I want to like it. But it has to go to Asgardians of the Galaxy issue 3. This story just has not captured me. It has to deal with Nebula trying to, you know, I guess, do what her sister wanted to do, but she's never done it all these years. And in the description, it says, Nebula unleashes a Thor of nightmares. Hordes of Asgardian dead ravage the Shi'ar Empire. The galaxy is falling to Nebula and her Nafgalar armada. It just has not been an interesting story for me. This book is price pointed at $3.99. And being that I read so many comic books, this is something that is just not, it just doesn't stand out to me. So at this point in time, it's a very forgettable story. So should I continue to buy it just because I bought the other two issues? I don't know. I'm really on the fence about this one. I want to like it, but I don't think I really do. So that's my on the fence book. So we'll see what happens when it comes to the comic book haul if you guys actually see this in there that day. All right. So now we're going to move on to my number 10 book. And my number 10 book goes to Batman issue 58, okay? Coming in at number 10. This time, the book is $3.99 price point. It starts a new story arc. This ends the whole situation with Nightwing. And this one has to do with the Penguin. And I'm not too excited about this one because I'm not a huge fan about the Penguin. And here's the description. The Dark Knight waddles into a turf war with the Penguin, still reeling from the attacks on his Bat family and his reputation. So, okay, I read Red Hood and the Outlaws. Last I saw was that Jason Todd shot Penguin point blank in the head. It really hasn't been that long. Is the Penguin back? Is he okay? Has he recovered from his injuries? Is he trying to get back at Batman for what Jason did to him? I don't know. It will be interesting to see this story because first we had the whole Catwoman situation. Then we get to see Bruce dealing with a whole trial that he went through with Mr. Freeze. Then we go through Nightwing teaming up with him, and then his son basically gets shot. And now he comes face to face with the Penguin, and this has to do, obviously, with Jason Todd or whatnot on what happened there. So I'm curious to see what Tom King plays with here, and, you know, the emotions that are still going through Bruce Wayne. I'm just not a fan of the Penguin, so I'm interested to see the continuity here, how everything ties together. All right, so coming in at number 9 is X-23. This is issue 6, okay? So this is another book that actually, I must say, I like the first couple issues of it, okay? But then as we got further and further with the Stepford Cuckoos, I kind of got disinterested in it. The story wasn't as funny or as entertaining, and then also they actually wrapped it up quite quickly. So now we start a new story arc. This book is also at $3.99, and it's titled Back to School. And it's Laura and Gabby go undercover as a teacher and a student, and an undercover deadly secret. Will Gabby be teacher's pet? So it kind of sounds like it could be a lot of fun as they're undercover and they're working together. One's in school and things like that. But I think this book really shines when Laura and Gabby interact with each other, and that was kind of taken away at the last 2 issues of the last story arc. But when these two are together and when Gabby talks, she is hysterical. She is such a blast. I love the story, but at the same time, I am hesitant about it because the other story started off pretty good and then it lost its steam. So even though it is in my top 10, it's still lower in that top 10, and it's coming in at number 9. So we'll see where that book actually goes. All right, so coming in at number 8 is Spider-Geddon. We're coming in at issue 3 now with this event. So the first 2 issues, we get to see Superior Spider-Man is the major player here, not Peter Parker. Obviously, Superior Spider-Man wants to get revenge on the Inheritors because they made him look like a fool for using his clone technology, and now all the Inheritors are starting to come back, and all they need is the father to gain complete control, and they're in the process of building more clone tanks and things like that. So that's what you get out of this book right now. It's not really a Peter Parker story. It's more of a Superior Spider-Man story more than anything. So I guess that is the difference. And I feel like a lot of this has to exist, this story right now, because of the movie coming out. And so, but at best, this story has been average for me. It's had its moments. I think Superior Spider-Man is funny. I love the way he talks because he's in Spider-Man's body, but he still talks like Doc Octopus when he says, like, the die is cast, and he calls people dolts and stuff like that. And the one thing that Spider-Geddon is better at so far than Spider-Verse is the balance of spider people. In the main event, we had way too many spider people. They were all standing around trying to capture panel time, and it just seemed unbalanced. In this series, at least it feels like it's a little bit better balanced, and if you want to see all the other spiders, you check out all those tie-ins. So that's where I can say Spider-Geddon is doing a better job, but I'm not convinced on the story yet. What are we really going to do that's different from Spider-Verse, okay? So that's why it fell a little bit lower. It's number 8. I still have my hopes up for it, but it's still like a 3.5 out of 5-star book for me, but it's just not blowing me out of the water just quite yet. All right. So next, coming in at number 7, this is Champions issue 26. Champions is cool, okay? It's like a world of magic. It reminds you of D&D right now. It's in this current story arc where our heroes got thrusted into some kind of portal, and there's something completely different from what they were in the past. And they don't even remember each other. So they might have glimpses or past images of their past lives or whatnot, but they went in there to rescue some of the heroes, and that's what they became, some mashups, more mashups or different versions of themselves in this world. So again, it reminds you of Dungeons & Dragons, the cartoon. If you guys ever watched that, it was an old school cartoon back in the 80s. It was a Saturday morning cartoon. It was really a lot of fun. And I like this story arc, and I love Champions as of right now. They've changed the direction a little bit. It's not so like my friend Jay from Comic Frontline calls it social justice, you know, obviously, and it's a lot more fun, and so I like it. So great stuff here. Champions falls on number 7. All right, guys. So coming in at number 6 this week on my most anticipated list is the Immortal Hulk. This is issue number 8. If you're not reading Immortal Hulk, I think you should. I think this is really a lot of fun. It has a great horrific feel to it. The artwork is just creepy and eerie and dark. But if you're not used to this version of a Hulk, and you're more to, like, I guess, a more modern times Hulk, where Hulk gets smashed and he's angry and he smashes everybody instead of like this werewolf at night type of horror creature, then this might not be for you. But for me, I like it because I haven't read a Hulk like this before, and I like when they try to do something different or something maybe that I haven't done in a long, long time ago. Well, in the last issue of Immortal Hulk, we see that the Avengers got control of the Hulk, and he wound up actually dying. Well, at nighttime, we all know that the Hulk comes back alive, whether he died or not. So what the Avengers had to do is they had to keep a light on him to act like it's daytime. And now in this issue, they took it one step further, and they dissected the Hulk, and he's in different pieces and parts in some like jars. So his head's in one jar, his arms in another jar, his hands in another jar. I'm just like, dude, that is just freaking weird, right? So, in the description, it's $3.99, and it says, Bruce Banner is dead, his corpse has been dissected, his organs are cataloged, and his inner workings are being studied. So it says, by the scientists of this shadow base. So that's what's going on. So I'm really curious to see what this issue has to offer. He's been seeing shit in some windows and some mirrors of like his father and stuff like that. And we got Betty in the last issue. She realizes that Bruce was alive, or it was around. So there's some things starting to develop in this series. I'm really interested to see what the long term is going to be for the Immortal Hulk. So good stuff here. All right, so now we're moving into top 5 area here. So my number 5 comic of the week, or most anticipated comic of the week, goes to The Walking Dead, right? 185. Now, seriously, you guys have not heard me talk about The Walking Dead in a very long time. When I first started YouTube, I actually did Walking Dead videos religiously every single week, every single issue. I used to review the TV show. I used to review the comic book, and I am still a huge fan today, but I feel like the audience has shrunk with The Walking Dead, and there's not as many people that are into it anymore. But I still enjoy the comic itself. I've read all the way through, and we get to see this whole situation develop when it comes to this community, another community, and it's called the Commonwealth. And the Commonwealth is not just some neighborhood that's around your street that these people are living in. This is basically a whole city, a whole establishment where they created a government, where people used to work in jobs that they worked with before the people were walking around dead. It's just really interesting, and they found this governor, and they're trying to have all the communities come together, but we find out that things, of course, when Rick Grimes is around, is about to go south, or we're going to see what the Commonwealth actually is. So I'm looking forward to this issue. You know, if you're a Walking Dead fan, you might say, oh, it's the same old shit. It never changes. But there's some good characters here now that have developed. I'm interesting to see where this is going to go. And by the time you guys are watching this video, if you're a Walking Dead fan, what'd you think of tonight's episode of The Walking Dead? All right, so we're going to move on to number 4. And my number 4 most anticipated comic of the week goes to Nightwing. This is issue 52. Nightwing is a book that it's one of those things where it's like, I don't agree with what they're doing with Nightwing. erase all his memories, and we don't know, when he's going to become himself again, and he's distancing himself from the Bat family. But at the same time, I feel like this book is written really well, and this is the first time that it's really got me reading Nightwing in a very long time. This book is priced at $3.99, and it says, the city of Bloodhaven is descending into madness, with citizens falling victim to not only a group of vigilantes taking justice into their own hands, but into ... So what is going to happen in this issue of Nightwing? So are we going to see maybe images of his past and things like that? Is he going to slowly regain his memory? I think eventually it will happen. It's just a matter of when, and how long will people tolerate Dick Grayson as him being a rebel? And what do you think of this entire Bat family basically changing? If you're reading Batgirl, she has implants in her back that's malfunctioning. She can't do the same things that she used to do. So that's quite interesting. And she got a new costume. Jason Todd is pure vigilante at this point in time. He's no more Red Hood. You got Nightwing, who is, lost his memory. Batman's dealing with the situation. So what do you think of the Bat family at this point in time, guys? Again, leave it in those comments below while you guys are discussing amongst yourselves during this premiere. All right. Next, we're going to talk about my number 3 most anticipated comic of the week. And that one goes to Marvel Knights. I guess 20th issue 1. It's kind of a weird name. But this one is done by Donny Cates, which, if you're a Donny Cates fan, if you like his writing, I think you got to pick this up. Okay, its price point is $4.99, so this is a little bit more expensive than your book, but I have a feeling than your average book. But I have a feeling that it's going to be a oversized, like 40 pages or something like that. But like I said, if you're a fan of Donny Cates, pick this up. It just says, in a celebration of the legendary imprint founded by Marvel CCO Joe Quesada, a new crop of talent stands poised to tell a groundbreaking story across the Marvel Universe. So the cover looks really cool. It's got Daredevil on there. I don't know what to really expect out of this series, but I'm excited for it. That's kind of why it's not my number 1, because it's like, oh, it could be really good or it could be kind of shitty. Who knows? But I think if it's Donny Cates and if it's in his hands, I kind of have faith in the guy. All right, so moving on to number 2. All right, goes to Iceman issue 3. Now, you guys are probably like, what the fuck, Mike Spider Slayer? What are you talking about? This is your number 2 book out of all these comics, like over Batman and stuff? Yes, it is. And do you want to know why? Well, you can see it right there on the cover. It's Iceman and his amazing friends, right? So not only are we going to have Iceman, but we're going to have Firestar, and we're going to have Spider-Man. I think that is awesome. It's a blast from the past, regardless of what you think of Iceman. If you agree with, his preference of being gay or straight or whatever the case may be, I still think it's really cool, and it brings back that nostalgia on there. My very first cartoon that I truly, truly loved was Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And that's what really kind of started me getting into Spider-Man and into comics. And my first love of female superheroes was actually Firestar. She was the first one I really liked. Followed by, and you'll probably laugh about this if you're a Thundercats fan, Cheetara from Thundercats. Again, I was really young when Thundercats was out, and I love those 2 female superheroes or characters. But those are ones to be my first true female loves. Those girls right there. And just seeing that these guys are back together regardless, I think is awesome. And I'm really excited about it to see what the story has to offer here. And even though it might be the only issue of Iceman I pick up, I'm really looking forward to it. All right, so here we go. My number 1 most anticipated comic of the week goes to Green Lantern issue 1. That's right, Grant Morrison. Now, a little sketchy on the whole Grant Morrison thing, but it could be really good, okay? We get to see Green Lantern, and we get to see him by himself. So he's no longer with, like, Kal Rayner and Jon Stewart and everybody else. He's basically a police cop. That's what he's going to do. There's a bunch of different variant covers if you guys want to collect these variant books. But I'm really interested to see what Hal Jordan really does with him, to see how he might go to different planets or police the sector, or what his interactions are going to be, obviously, with all these other characters. I am a real huge Green Lantern fan. In the DC universe, Green Lantern is my favorite character over Batman, Superman, any of those characters, because I love the fact that in order to be a Green Lantern, you have to have this willpower to overcome everything, and I feel like you have to have imagination to create your constructs. And I think that's really awesome. And that's why I loved Green Lantern back in the 90s, because I loved Kyle Rayner, how he was an artist and he thought outside the box and he came up with all these wild constructs. But Hal Jordan and Grant Morrison, this could be a very interesting book. The one thing is, I just hope it doesn't get too weird and it screws everything up, and then I get so disinterested in it that I lose interest, and it can go from my top to being my worst in a matter of 3 or 2 issues. But for now, this is my most anticipated comic of the week. So, there you guys have it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my most anticipated comics of the week. Now it's your turn. If you haven't commented already, in the comments below, tell me some of the books you're most looking forward to, and hopefully you enjoyed this video and this premiere of Mike Spider Slayer's most anticipated comics of the week. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and again guys, don't forget to hit that notification button so you don't miss a single video from me. And until our next comic book review, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. Take care guys. Peace.